Go ahead and call this meeting in order. First item is roll call.
Alderman Arnold.
Here.
Alderman Bray.
Here.
Alderman Cleaver.
Here.
Alderman Knox.
Here.
Alderman Mills.
Here.
Alderman Skinner.
Here.
There is a quorum.
All right. Next item will be invocation by Pastor Daniel Ballard of Crossroads Church, followed by pledge of allegiance from Alderman Bray.
Lord, we just come to you this evening. Thank you for one of you who sacrificed time this evening to be here, to be a part of the process of running the city. Pray that you would guide conversation with wisdom. Your will be done in the city. Guide pray these things.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up, we have the approval of the agenda.
No changes, Mayor.
Seeing no proclamations, move on to public comment. We ask the citizens come forward to the podium and microphone. Please make sure your name and address has been written on the forms. We have that for the record. Do I have anyone who wishes to address the board this evening? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, motion from Alderman Skinner to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mills. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. See no previous business, new business, or presentations. Move on to public hearings. We have a voluntary annexation for Grand Valley Safety Storage LLC at 4502 South Buckner Tarsney Road.
Mayor, members of the board, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Trozen for a brief overview.
Mayor and members of the board, Grand Valley Safety Storage LLC submitted a voluntary annexation petition. This tract of land is generally located a quarter of a mile south of Duncan Road on the west side of Buckner Tarsney Road. Contains 1.9 acres in size. There are utilities on or near the property. The city sewer is available and runs through the property on the west side. The 12-inch water main would need to be extended either south or north of the property. There is a utility map that was included as a part of your packet. Public notice was advertised on May 12, 2023 in the Examiner. Notification was also provided in writing to surrounding property owners and political subdivision. A sign was also posted on the property pertaining to this public hearing. Are there any questions? The applicant's representative is present in the audience.
Okay. Do the board have any questions? Okay. As this is a public hearing, we'll open it up for comments for or against. Anyone who wishes to speak to the board regarding this? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. All right, next up will be resolutions. First off, we have resolution R23-37. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to buy out the remaining balance on the leased skid steer for the Public Works Division to complete routine tasks and projects.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R23-37.
I have a motion from Alderman Skinner to approve resolution R23-37. Do I have a second? Second. Alderman Bray. Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, as you may be aware, we've gone year after year with the budget on this, but for this piece of equipment, we have been in a lease agreement with the plan that at the end of that term, we would purchase that piece of equipment, assuming that it had been a good piece for us. And we are in that position to where we do feel it is a good piece. So this would be kind of that last payment to purchase.
Any questions or discussion? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next up, resolution R23-38. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley authorizing the city administrator to spend funds to renew the annual software maintenance and support agreement with Brightly Software.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution R 2338.
I have a motion from Alderman Arnold to approve resolution R 23-38. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this is the asset management system that we have used for about 5 years now. So this would be renewing that deal with them. So we have been happy with the product and want to continue.
Do we have any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next up, we have resolution R 23-39. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley reappointing Becky Gray to the Grand Valley Parks and Recreation Board for a 3-year term.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution R 2339.
I have a motion from Alderman Bray to approve resolution R 23-39. Do I have a second?
Second.
Arnold. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, as it says, this would be reappointing Becky Gray to the Parks and Recreation Board for a 3-year term.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, next up, we have resolution R 23-40. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley authorizing the city administrator enter into an agreement with the Fagan Company doing business as MCOR Services, Fagan, for HVAC preventative maintenance services.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 23-40.
I have a motion by Alderman Cleaver to approve resolution R 23-40. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, our previous agreement had come to the end of its term, so we issued an RFP for mechanical services and got back 5 responses. And after reviewing those responses and the associated cost with them, the decision was made to go with Fagan Company.
Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next up, we have resolution R 23-41. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with A&A Electrical for electrical services as needed.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve resolution R 23-41.
I have a motion, Alderman Knox, to approve resolution R 23-41. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Mills. Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, similar to the last one, this is another supply contract. We had 4 responses on this one, but after looking at the responses and the costs, A&A is the one that we want to go forward with, and they are currently who we use for electrical services.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next up, we have resolution R 23-42. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley authorizing the city administrator enter into an agreement with Summit General Contracting LLC for building maintenance as needed.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution R 23-42.
I have a motion from Alderman Mills to approve resolution R 23-42. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, this rounds out the trifecta here. So this is for general building maintenance. This will be the same company that we have been using for this last term and have been happy with. So we're recommending to move forward with them again.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That's it for resolutions. We'll move on to ordinances.
The first is a second reading of Bill number B23-15. This is an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to enter into a TAP funding agreement for the South Buckner-Tarsney Shared Trail.
I move that we accept the second reading of Bill 23-15 and approve it as ordinance 2421.
I have a motion from Alderman Mills to accept Bill B23-15 in its second reading, making ordinance 2421. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bray. Any discussion?
When will the work start? I don't remember seeing anything on that.
These are in there for 2025. Mhm.
Additional questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, this will be roll call.
Alderman Arnold,
Yes.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Skinner.
Yes.
The next is the second reading of Bill number B23-16. This is an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grain Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to enter into a TAP funding agreement for the Eagles Parkway Shared Trail.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the second reading of bill number B23-16 and approve it as ordinance number 2422.
I have a motion by Alderman Skinner to approve Bill B23-16 for its second reading, making it ordinance 2422. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mills. Any discussion? Questions? Seeing none, this will be roll call.
Alderman Skinner,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Arnold.
Yes.
The next is a second reading of Bill number B23-17. This is an ordinance by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grain Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to amend the 2023 budget to allocate funding from park fund reserves for the transportation project fees related to the TAP funding award for the Buckner-Tarsney and Southwest Eagles Parkway Shared Use Trail projects.
Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 2317 for its second reading and make it ordinance 2423.
Okay. I have a motion from Alderman Arnold to approve Bill B23-17 for its second reading, making it ordinance 2423. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All right, this will be roll call.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Skinner,
Yes.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Arnold.
Yes.
The next is a second reading of Bill number B23-18. This is an ordinance amending Traffic Code Schedule 2, stop intersections of the City of Grain Valley Municipal Code.
I move that we accept the second reading of Bill 23-18 and bring it back as ordinance 2424.
I have a motion by Alderman Bray to approve Bill B23-18 for its second reading, making it ordinance 2424. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Do we have an idea of when those will be installed?
We'll try to get to them as quickly as we can, but I
Perfect.
don't have a specific date for
That sounds quick, so appreciate it.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, this will be roll call.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Skinner,
Yes.
Alderman Arnold,
Yes.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
The next is the first reading of Bill number B23-19. This is an ordinance establishing a new chapter of the Grain Valley Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 145, Public Record Request Policy and Procedures.
I move that we accept the first reading of number B23-19 and bring it back for its second reading at our next regular session.
I have a motion of Alderman Cleaver to approve Bill B23-19 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, I'm sure you're all aware of the sunshine policy and, or sunshine law, and the prevalence of those requests. It seems to be getting, increasing, every day pretty much, but definitely the trend has been for more requests. So we just wanted to make sure that we have a policy in place that is ordinance that is clear, and make sure everybody knows, exactly what that policy is and how we're gonna follow that going forward. So we would just ask that you would consider this addition to the code. And obviously everything in here does follow or is in compliance with the Missouri Sunshine Law, which is 640.010 and 640.20 of the revised statutes. 610.20. Thank you.
Questions or discussion?
Is there any changes to how we're doing it today?
Yeah, it's not really that there's any changes. It's just actually putting it together in a document to where our process is out there and anyone can go and see that.
Anything else?
Section 108 authorizes the use of the electronic board in the vestibule out here. I'm concerned of that use because it's not clearly visible to everyone. I walked past it for over a year without even knowing it was up there. There are various things that do come across the monitor, such as a video about Grain Valley from been doing and so forth. I've had questions whether ADA would be followed, someone who's in a wheelchair or vertically challenged or has a neck injury or poor vision. They're not going to be able to see it. If you can see it, you might have difficulty reading it because it scrolls through the pages of the documents for our agenda, not giving someone ample time to read or whatever, that they have to stand there through several processes. So, you know, best practice, I think, by the Attorney General's office is hard copy presented and posted. And we have a bulletin board out front that I think we should utilize to put the hard copy in so that it's there, it's easy to read. Someone can have access to it for a full 24 hours if it's only posted 24 hours. Currently, if we post something right at the deadline of a 24-hour cycle, it might be questioned as to whether or not we meet the guidelines because of the video that shows in between those pages. It's anywhere from 20 seconds to a minute. So that's taking time away from the ordinances being, the board notices being visible for the public to see. So for a lot of reasons, you know, like I said, it's not clearly posted that it's there. And like I walked past it for over a year without knowing it was there for posting of meetings. So
I agree with Alderman Arnold. It ought to be hard copy posted down where people can see it. I've got the same concerns that Dale does.
So obviously before we went down that path, we got an opinion on whether or not that would meet the requirements, and the response we got back was that it would. One of the issues that we've run into in the past with the reason there's another message board out there, or not message board, but container, is issues with condensation and not being able to see it. And in the winter, when Jamie goes out or would go out to post, not even being able to get in the thing because it's frozen. So in our opinion, it actually, this is something that is easier to see because you don't have to worry about if you came in the morning and it's fogged over, not being able to see it. I mean, it's there, those doors are open, and
I'd like to see
think it's
it
very
posted.
clearly.
If that's an issue, I'd like to see it posted in the vestibule where you don't have to worry about that, but it's still at eye level because I, like Dale, have gone by that thing 100 times and never looked up at it. I'm too busy trying to figure out how to get in the door. And I'm sure our taxpayers are the same way. I would like to see it where shorter people can read it. I mean, if you stand 5 foot and it's way up there and your eyes aren't 100%, how well can they actually see that? So I don't think it'd take too much for us to, nothing else, posted in the vestibule.
And the bulletin board out there worked for the census building's been built. I know there's some issues. You might be able to seal the board better. I know sometimes you were worried about it freezing up. You know, you can use some WD-40 is basically designed for that to keep things from freezing up. I know there was an issue with possibly bees getting in there, and if that becomes an issue, you've got maintenance employees that can come and take care of that issue and clear it out so that we don't have a problem and spray it and so forth. And I think in an effort to be transparent and give the public every opportunity to have an opportunity to view our postings for meetings, it should be hard copied and available at eye level.
During the summertime, we don't have an issue with it, correct?
Not till it rains and then it leaks. That's why we're on the second one of those, because they just
Even
don't
if we have
seal.
to put a little cover that keeps the rain off of it a little bit more, I think something like that could be arranged to make it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we did what seemed to be the most reasonable way to take all of those things out of the equation to put that up there, but I mean, whatever you see fit,
Can we-
but
can we
it's
look-
not that tall, like, it's not like it's a ceiling height in here, it's,
Tall
What
enough,
is
I
that?
never noticed it.
It's a 7-foot door and it's above that.
yeah, I mean, we had people that used to say that they didn't know the message or the board was out there for anything too, so I don't know if there's a perfect,
When we get our
Sure.
new board that we approve funding for, I don't know when that's getting installed or ordered, but when that's out there at the front of the building, can that be used to alert the public of the meeting?
yeah, I mean, I don't know what, not
alert
knowing
the
exactly
meeting, but we
what
could
the,
put the
yeah,
agenda
it'd be
on
like
it.
a date and time kind of thing, probably, I
Would
don't
that
think it
resolve
would.
this issue? I mean, could that be the posted?
That they're talking about the
No, I
actual-
don't
see
know
the
that
actual
that would,
agenda.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So this literally out there, the agenda itself
Okay.
is posted there.
We have posted them for years at the fire department vestibule on a stand that you just walk out there and tack it on there and it's there. Well, it's not that big a deal,
At least have a little bigger vestibule than we have.
yeah, it's just a freestanding stand that you can just come tack it on there.
I'd make a motion to
Hmm.
amend this to add hard copy posted in the bulletin board.
I mean,
Available
that may
there.
be the, just put it on the door inside, I mean, that may be the
I
easiest
think there's
solution.
some concern about making it where it's visible, but yet not.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be tampered
cannot
with.
be
That's the
tampered
whole.
with or taken down by a citizen.
Mm.
So it may not, most likely wouldn't happen, but you have to prevent against that. That's why there was the lock case out front.
Could we do some research to see what other options we'd have for the exterior of the building that may not fog up or freeze up or?
Another issue I used to have, I'd have to take a knife out of there because the whole thing would freeze over with ice and I'd have to put a knife in there and pry it open too, so I don't know
We just
that.
get you a torch.
I
Have
think
Public
if
Works
you're
more of
gonna
a torch
physically
and-
post it inside is the better choice.
We put some type of a structure that would keep the rain off of it. It wouldn't take very much, so that wouldn't be an issue unless the wind's blowing out of the north and blows it in there on it.
Making research before the next one.
I think we'll just, before it comes up for a second reading, see what options we have for the hard copy version of it. And then you guys could present those back to us.
Oh.
I mean, we're not the only people running into this, so.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Does
did,
that seem
I
okay
did
for
present a
everyone?
motion that we go ahead and add paper copy posted in the bulletin board. We can work on the, dealing with the issues that are there. I don't think they're insurmountable to make this available and do what's best practice to have a hard copy available for the public to see.
I mean, make a motion you want, or we can wait, I mean.
That's my motion.
The motion's been made. I think we're waiting on a second.
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion on the motion?
And this motion is to go away from, how long have we been using the video?
I'll go away, add to.
Yeah, Jamie, how,
About a year and a half.
yeah.
Have we had any complaints? And who provided us the advice that that was in compliance with Sunshine?
Yeah, or
Joe did.
City attorney did.
Okay.
Any other discussion? This will be on the motion.
Compliance is not necessarily what we're looking for here, it's just more ease of availability to the public. You know, that may meet compliance, but like I said, ADA may be a big issue there with the fact that it's above eye level, 7 feet off the ground. It's not even the same size as a full sheet of paper on the screen when it's on the screen. You know, so there are some issues there that I think hard copy would remedy. It's not that big of an issue, I don't believe, to go out there and put it in the case. You spray that case with WD-40 around the perimeter, it'll keep the water from getting in there. That's what it was designed for, water dispersing. To keep water and moisture out of there, so it'd just be better service to our citizens to have that available there.
Any other discussion or questions on the motion?
Is the board clear what the motion is?
it was stated while other people were talking, so I'm not sure if it was clear what the motion is.
Motion to add a paper copy to the policy, right? Or written, not just electronic. I'll get the exact verbiage from the minutes or from the recording.
Any other discussion on the motion? Okay, this vote will be on the actual motion part then, not the first
It's a motion
reading.
to amend the section 8 of the ordinance to add language to include a hard copy posted in the vestibule. Is that correct?
Posted in the bulletin board.
Posted in the bulletin board.
And the bulletin board is what you're saying is icing up, correct?
It does in the winter and.
It can. It's
And
not-
fog up in the morning.
Do you know what size that TV is? I don't usually use that insurance other than renewing the permit for my golf cart. So, how big is the TV?
It's 22 inches,
What's the size of a piece of paper?
8.5 by 11.
I'm good.
Yes. All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Alright, so now we're back on the first reading of 2319 then. Any additional questions or discussion?
On section 107, closed records, under the auspice of the sunshine laws, to do things in the light of day so that we don't do things in secret. The way that reads concerns me, that just anything we do in executive session could be considered closed records and not be made public to the people. And I'm not sure that that is the best practice for to stay transparent with what we're doing, in that unless we are doing litigation or something that requires a non-disclosure agreement, pretty much anything else that gets talked about in there other than specifics with whatever votes and motions that get voted on should be made public without being considered closed session. So I'm not sure I completely understand the closed record portion of this.
Can you refer specifically to which sentence you're talking about or which phrase?
Just the overall, say in section 107.
Okay, so
closed records.
the purpose of this section is, and first of all, it's perfectly permissible under the Sunshine Law. In fact, it would essentially be required, because what this section does is it makes any record that could be closed, closed. Okay? Without that, and because the Board of Aldermen controls what records are closed and what records are opened, in most cases, with the exception of certain police records, every record that would be produced at the city would be required to come before this board to close it individually. How many records do you probably produce in a week? Thousands. And so the purpose of this section is to say that anything that can be closed under the Sunshine Law is closed, and then that gives you the option that in the circumstances where a record needs to be opened, it can be opened. To address specifically Alderman Arnold's question about items that would be in closed session, there are certain documents and there are rules in the Sunshine Law, the law that we have to follow, that would talk about when records then become open under the law. So again, this would say any record that can be closed is closed. And if it cannot be closed any further, for example, if you enter into a settlement agreement to end a lawsuit, that is a document that ultimately, when it's done, has to be made released. If you enter into a contract that you've been negotiating, once the contract is signed by the parties, it then becomes open, those types of things. And so that is designed to cover those circumstances that we've been practicing for years at this point, the same way.
Just want to make sure that we're being as open and transparent as possible to the public so they know what we're doing. So they don't think we're trying to hide anything from them.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
This is the first reading of Bill number B23-20. This is an ordinance annexing certain real property that is contiguous and compact to the existing city limits of Grain Valley, Missouri for Grain Valley Safety Storage LLC.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve bill number B 23-20, bring it back by title only at our next regularly scheduled meeting.
I have motion by Alderman Knox to approve Bill B23-20 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this is the ordinance that coincides with the public hearing that we had earlier tonight. So this is the parcel that's just under, I believe, 2 acres on the west side of Buckner Tarsney.
If this is approved, can we get the address changed so now that it's in the city limits? Because that's a south address, which is a county address, and it's very confusing for emergency vehicles when they're dispatched to 45 something South Buckner Tarsney and it's north of town. Means how that's a county address.
Actually have this same concern with the street that I live on, Rust Road. We run into the same problem. I'm in 4510 or south, northwest, depending on who's coming.
Yeah, I'd like to see us, once something's in the city limits, we get it rolled over to the city address.
You got it down? All right. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That's it for ordinances. Next up, city attorney's reports.
Mayor, members of the board, we're pleased to announce that we are finally done with our training season. The last city officials training that we had for the year was last Friday, so it's exciting to have that done. Just a reminder that there is still the MML elected officials training that they offer every year. It's in Columbia in June, and I apologize, I don't have the date with me, but definitely, encourage everyone to get as much training as you possibly can with respect to that. Just a kind of an informal announcement. We'll have something more formal coming out. We are going to be opening an office in the Springfield, Missouri area, probably sometime in July is what we're looking at. So we're kind of excited to get that going. One of our attorneys in the Lee Summit office has accepted an offer to open that office, and we're looking forward to getting that up and running. So that'll be something to come. That's all I have for this evening.
Next up, city administrator and staff reports.
We'll start with Mr. Trozen.
So on Saturday, June 3rd, the city will be hosting their citywide cleanup event from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The collection site will be located at our Public Works facility on James Brolo Drive. The Public Works Division is also extending the pickup for senior residents on Thursday, June 1st and Friday, June 2nd. We do require that seniors request this service before May 26th. You can do so by contacting our Public Works Assistant, Stephanie Ambrose, 816-847-6274. Also on that date, we are co-hosting with Jackson County our annual 2023 Household Hazardous Waste event. That's located out at the Jackson County Public Works Facility, which is located out on Old US 40 Highway. That event starts from 8 a.m. and runs till noon or until the trucks are full. So typically, whatever folks don't bring to the cleanup event is usually like items like paint, pesticides, hazardous liquids, we accept at the Household Hazardous Waste event.
I was asked if they will take old barbecue grill tanks that are empty.
The propane tanks?
Tanks.
Yeah. Yes.
What age do you consider senior?
Keep going, buddy.
I don't think we give a age. Someone needs assistance, we're usually there
All right, Mr. Davies.
Mayor and board, just real quick, it's that time of year again, park staff visiting Grand Valley Aquatics, ready for opening. We do open this upcoming Saturday, May 27th at 12 o'clock for the summer season.
And the only other thing I had, unfortunately, as I guess one follow up with Alderman Arnold from last time, we did send a card to Mr. Scully with our condolences. And then also recently we were made aware that John Jack, who was our judge for a number of years, passed away. So we are doing the same with that. So if you remember, it was probably 2 years ago. We kind of honored him, well, gave him the plaque and what stuff that's back there is only the, I guess, well, now 5th judge since we have Judge Watkins, but at the time, the 4th judge, I believe. So just wanted to pass that along in case you hadn't heard, but we will be sending something to his family. That is it.
All right. Next up, be Board of Aldermen reports and comments. First off, Alderman Arnold.
Just want to say congratulations to the class of 2023 who's graduating tonight as we meet. Wish them the best in their future endeavors and life that begins as they never expected.
Next up, Alderman Mills.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Alderman Bray.
I was contacted by some citizens residents up on Hilltop Lane. There's some concern about traffic speeds as people are coming down where those houses aren't built yet, heading back up the hill at a higher rate of speed. And then also parking on both sides of the street. There was concern there with the number of kids in that neighborhood. I don't know if there's anything that we can do as far as maybe getting you guys out a little more frequently, or possibly some caution children playing signs or something along those lines.
Is there a time of day that you're recognizing that?
It kind of seemed all over the place, but mostly afterward is what it sounded like.
Alderman Skinner.
Yeah, just quick. I was wanting to see if we couldn't get just a kind of around the board staffing report. I mean, I know that we're kind of through COVID at this point. I was kind of curious how many open positions Public Works has.
Yeah, and so, Jamie, was that in this packet or the last?
last one.
The last packet would have been the HR report.
Okay.
You always see that in the back, and it had that listed out, but I can send that out in an email.
Is it a lot?
We have 2 public works positions. We filled we'll be filling the seasonal positions. We have both on the Parks and Rec side, both seasonal spots should be filled by next week, I believe. So that's full. Like I said, Public Works, we have the 2. And then other than that, it's PD that we're working on.
And how many open positions with the police department? 5.
2 that have never been filled.
I know a few weeks ago I brought up opening up overtime. Has there been any movement on that? If we increase the ability for our officers to work overtime?
Yeah, Chief, do you want to?
Yeah, we offer that now, and I work with the sergeants on the front lines to recognize what their needs are. And so they've got the authority to request overtime as needed for any shift.
Okay. And then what about our SROs this summer? Do they work the road? I don't know what the typical plan is.
They really don't get allowed, they're not allowed to take their regular vacation. So the only time they get to use vacation is during the summer. We use them for the summer school and then special events for camps. And so there will be a few weeks in which their schedules are going to overlap. We'll be able to utilize them that way, but it's hit or miss in terms of scheduling them to cover shifts. It's we take the days that they're available and we plug them in.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks.
Alderman Knox.
If nobody's driven by, concrete floors down in our new police station.
Steel up too.
Vertical. Oh, the steel's going up?
They got some steel up there too.
Huh.
Favor?
Nothing tonight.
All right, next up is mayor's report. I have a couple things. The first one is back in April, we passed resolution R 23-32, which was for the First Fridays events downtown about what basically where food trucks could be parked since they are on the roads and it's city right away. We had our first one May 5th, and part of the feedback that we were getting and what we were noticing is that we have businesses like Scout Coffee and Iron Courtyard that are kind of over more on the Walnut side. We weren't getting the crowds really to wrap all the way around the block, and they were kind of getting a little shorted over there. So we had a request to do something more on Walnut Street with the post office there. It's not something we can close totally down because I know they have a couple of delivery trucks that come in after hours for the mail and such. So we were looking at possibly closing Walnut between the alley there and Gregg Street, just that half a block. So it still allows people in and out of that parking lot. It still allows the post office to get their trucks in and out of there, and allow us to put a food truck or two over on Walnut to kind of get the crowd to get over towards Iron Courtyard and Scout Coffee at the same time. When we passed the original resolution, we did not have that portion of Walnut Street approved. I talked with Joe, and he said since we already did it, we would just need a motion and a vote to add that half a block of Walnut between the alley and Gregg Street if we were okay with that.
I'll make a motion that we add closing between the alley and Gregg Street on Food Truck Fridays.
Knox, I have a second.
Second.
Alderman Skinner, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. And the next item is, it comes that time when we start looking at putting the next city view together. And we were kind of discussing what all we wanted in the next city view. And truth be told, every time I go to the post office, when the city view comes out, I see the trash can full of them. I don't think they're getting read that much. So we were kind of brainstorming some ideas to maybe do that differently because printing costs keep going up. And right now we're over $11,000 on that. And I have a feeling that 9,000 of it's getting thrown in the trash. We have an email list going that's growing. We talked about sending out a postcard to all the residents, letting them know of that email list where we could start electronically sending these out instead of the increase in printing cost. That was one thing we looked at. We're going to start doing some podcasts this summer as well, where I'm going to sit down with different departments and talk about what they do and kind of, I don't know what's the word, Teresa? Not a state of city, but what we're calling it.
I don't know. We gotta come up with that stuff. We kind of just like interview style.
Yeah.
Oh, the annual report. That's
Just
what you're trying to get me to say.
Giving like the annual
Yes.
report for each department when we do that.
We have a annual report document. We've never done one before, and we're very close to having that done for 2022. Should come quicker in future years now that the template's out, but that lists several things that were covered in the State of the City before.
I know one of the concerns is going to be, people who don't have electronic access like that. I don't know.
My thought process was, would be if we, on the postcard, if we put like a QR code, most people have a smartphone, but for the people who don't, can we still do a minimum, do 100 of them or something?
Yeah, we had talked about that. Even if we move the design in-house, we could set up on that postcard, if you'd like a printed copy, contact probably Tiffany, we'll mail one out to you still. But I pulled it up. In 2019, we were spending around $8,000 twice a year on it, and we're up to close to 11 now. So even in the last couple of years, it's just quickly increasing. Some of that's postage, some of it's printing.
Twice a year, so that's over 20 grand a year. Like I said, I think a lot more going in the trash. So I don't know if it's something, it's something we budgeted for. I don't know if it's something we want to continue or if we want to go ahead and try these
And
routes.
that's kind of what triggered this conversation a little bit too, is because we did budget for it, but we're over budget from the cost from the first half of the year. We will be over budget if it's the same amount.
Well, as long as we can get it out to people electronically, or if they, if they so wish to still get a paper copy, I think that's the way to go.
Is anyone just downright opposed to get rid of the citywide mailer? Okay, well, if everyone's okay, let's go around, we'll send out a postcard. Hopefully we'll get that, and then we'll see the response we get back and look at the list and see what the views on our videos and stuff are, and it's something that we can revisit at budget time if we see that, we want to go back to the paper copy next year, we'll just have to budget
Yeah,
more money.
and I mean, I think the other thing, just from a timing perspective, is when we have to start the process, guessing on how some of the things are going to go. Whereas if we went more the digital route, we can kind of condense that, and in reality, it probably should be more up to date or
'Cause I gave
correct.
the example earlier, if you look back at the mayor's message from the spring, it's gonna say something about, thank you to our public works guys and all the hard work with all the snow removal this year. There wasn't much snow removal because we have to write it, before the winter, so, that's happened a couple times where we've had stuff that really didn't apply because, we had to write them so far in advance.
We're always
This would give
looking
us,
for an
more.
opportunity to help our businesses in town. Are we prohibited from allowing them to advertise it and cover some of the cost of that?
Not that we're prohibited. We've never explored that.
Joe's
but-
saying no, you can't, I mean, I think the school does that, don't they, on
Yeah, the
theirs?
school does that, and it's just one other way that, we're not gonna charge what a business has to do for the same amount of space, but if, they cover that plus an equal amount of the cost for printing an equal amount of the paper, you could, cut that cost down, and, I don't think we'll ever get to the point where we're making money, but it keeps it still available for those people that like printed copies, so.
If the school's already doing it, I would think that'd be a good avenue to reach out to them and say, how are they approaching it? How are they working it?
Yeah, and I mean, there still might be avenues for that anyway. I guess at the core of it, I would still hate to, whether it's the city's money or it's business's money, selling them on something, and we still have the situation where, to Mayor's point, if people are throwing them in the trash when they see them, they're not taking the time to go through it and look at an advertisement anyway. So maybe that's even the postcards or whatever that we would mail out, that it would have the link to that document. Maybe that's still an avenue that we could go down to offset some of that cost. But I think it's kind of two separate things. Like, is the document itself something that is wanted or being utilized?
And I'm not aware of what we normally put in that, because I've never gotten a copy of it, but, important numbers, contact, ways to go about some of the other stuff that, people would need, how do you report a weed ordinance, those type of things. In that, anything like that included in it, which makes it something that people might want to read and hang on to, so in case they need that avenue of how to get information or get to the right place, it makes a more valuable piece of document for them to hang on to and actually take the time to read.
And I think we have that in multiple avenues now, the kind of the emergency numbers or what to do if kinds of things. And it's kind of been on a repeat button. That's always just something that's on there. But I think we have that out in a number of different avenues now. And I mean, we can look at other ways to make sure that those important numbers are out there.
I know I used to get from other communities, and so I actually used to get one from Blue Springs down here that, listed all the fire department numbers, the police department numbers, water department, all the different numbers, and back cover of it had all this information. If anything, you at least tore the back cover off and hung on to it, so you had those numbers.
That's,
Easy reference.
And that's
that is
literally
what our back cover looks
Is-
like,
is
yep.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And you could, once a year, mail it out with the water bill, if you had to, just a list of numbers. If that's what you're after, is just making
No,
sure
I'm
he
just-
has a
I'm just-
list of numbers.
if it's,
you know.
not knowing what's in it, don't know how much valuable information's in there, and that would make it more. And again, if people want to take the time to read it, it's not going to make it.
right.
If they just look at it and just throw it in the can, it's not going to do any good. But
I mean, something like that, we might find our money's more well spent with refrigerator magnets to have all those numbers on. I mean, I don't know.
Or just one side of the postcard had a bunch of numbers
Yeah.
on it. If you wanted, you could cut it out and put it on your.
And I think we just, you know, we try these other avenues for this go around. If we see it's just an absolute flop and we're hearing from people that they like the city view, then we just know to increase the budget for that next year to do those trainings of it.
And the other thing we've done, because that's been going on for years, but in the last, year or two, a couple years, we've done the quarterly newsletter, and we've never had that before, and that's definitely a more up-to-date.
We also have the electronic sign coming
Mhm.
that will take some of that too.
When you send those quarterlies out and so forth, do you put a RSQ thing on the website so people can download whatever that is?
The newsletter?
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually put it in the news section. It stands there for a while till new news comes up, but yeah. So I think part of it's just, and I'm hoping the postcard will help to build that database up, because we also can use it for alerts and things like that throughout the year that we wouldn't have with just a mailing.
That's all I have. I believe we do have a need for an executive session, correct?
We do 1 legal, 2 real estate, 3 personnel, 12 personnel, or hold on, sorry, scratch that one, 13 personnel.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session then.
So moved.
Alderman Knox, have a second.
Second.
Alderman Skinner, any discussion? We roll call?
Alderman Arnold,
Yes.
Alderman Bray,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Skinner,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
All right, we'll adjourn the executive session.